All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to a pre-market show. Hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hope you had a great day yesterday to start off the week. Good morning, Norm. How you doing today?
Good morning, Carlos. I'm doing all right. I'm a little bit tired, as I imagine you are, because I saw you tweeting when I was unable to sleep at 1:30 my time this morning, 2:30 yours.
Yes, yes. So my little one definitely had me out. So a little bit tired this morning. Hopefully, some coffee will fix that. But yeah, guys. Good morning. What a tough day it was yesterday at the open, especially. I mean, there were some really good moves. Tesla was nice. I think JD was good. Just didn't have quite the volume. So we'll go through these. But overall, it was not an easy market open, especially if you're my style of trading, looking for these opening range breakups on the 5 minute. They were a little bit tough yesterday. So again, just not a lot of continuation, and some of the stuff that took off. If you did not take a quick 1 minute, 2 minute opening range, by the time you got into that trade, was just a little bit too late. So let's take a look. Let's start from the top here. Let's go over to our 1 minute from yesterday. Let's look at our 5 minute as well, down at the bottom here. So let's start over with BYND. So BYND, again, and looking at it now, this
Beyond
five,
the meat.
yes, it looks amazing now looking at it after the fact. But this price action was not that clean. As we know, BYND tends to have a price action that's not all that clean. Could be a little choppy and a little whippy. It sells above the VWAP. You think it's going to take off. It then comes right back down below the VWAP here and all the moving averages. And as you know, if you trade BYND in the past, you know you don't want to be going in that first minute, because the stock, that first minute could be so wild for BYND. You want to always be extra cautious with that. It does finally settle down above the VWAP and the moving averages, does break the high of the day, and actually puts in a really nice a move here, right? Even with how choppy this stock can be, it does a really good move here, breaks the high of the day, and heads higher with some good volume. You see the volume coming in here. This is a good indication that we're breaking the high of the day at that time, and a nice pop all the way from 114 up to 120. So right there, that's in itself right there's a great move. 5 minute also, you can see the consolidation happening here, and then again breaks out of the all-time the high of the day as well for another beautiful run all the way up to 125. So again, trading very well. Open was a little choppy, but overall a very nice move from BYND. And actually, the price action was not that bad yesterday. We've seen a lot worse from BYND. Tesla, guys, was the trade, one of the trade of the day. It was just amazing to see. This thing took off with some really good strength. Yes, they had a beautiful pre-market activity right after open. You see this nice, beautiful pop on the 1 minute. Look at the volume on this thing. But again, this is one of those trades that if you waited for the 5 minute open range breakup, then you were too late to the party. This thing hit the level we have here, 537, right off the bat. Norm, I think you got in somewhere in this area. If I looked at your Twitter, um,
529.90.
look at that, 529. Cannot get a better entry than that. And then the minute you got in, doesn't even test your stop or anything, just takes off. Just really took off. And then
Yep.
from here at this point, you just don't want to chase this. You either got to enter a great entry or you don't. You do get a mini pullback here in this 1 minute. But again, if you're not looking for a 2 minute open range break, well, that could have been a tough trade to take. And then here it just takes off all the way to 540, just trading very, very nice. So Tesla was very, very clean. Also later in the day, continued to trade very well. I think it did it go for another run? I believe. No, this was, yeah, it did a little pop here.
Yeah,
Nothing.
it did at the end of the
Yeah.
day.
So he went for another run towards the end of the day. Again, this was nice to see here. Here's JD. JD, actually, I was watching JD, and just because the volume had died down, I didn't take this for opening range breakup. So you can see here, nice, beautiful 5 minutes. This is your opening range here on the 5. You do get a beautiful pullback on the next 5 minute candle right at the VWAP. So that's a great entry, good risk to reward. And then it takes off, but it takes off with almost barely any volume compared to the previous candle. So that for me was a little bit concerning. I didn't think it was going to have the strength, but it did take off nicely. Gave you a beautiful pullback on the 1 minute. Look at this beautiful ABCD pattern, and went up another couple of 40 cents or so to 40.05. So again, traded very nice on JD. LK was just brutal, very choppy, guys. Look at this drop, and then look at this comeback, the VWAP reversal. But again, just not clean at all. Look at this 5 minute, how this was trading. Every candle overlapping the previous candle. Here, there's no pattern indication of what this stock wants to do. So that's a difficult trade to take in this area. You could have got stopped out here several times. Then you finally get a squeeze and then right back down to the V up again. So just not clean trading at all. Space was nice, guys, after it settled down. So sold up, sold back down, and sold up again. So again, you had this kind of choppy action. The 1 minute, looking at it now, looks clean, right? If you look at the 1 minute, this looks clean. But overall, there's no pattern here. This is not a pattern that we trade. Finally settled above the VWAP, above the high of the pre-market 1640. 145. Took off nicely, hit the high of the day, and then got a couple of cents above that. Again, it looks clean now, but this pre-market, the action was not all that clean. Then here, I remember watching here, waiting for a pullback for a continuation. This drop happened so fast, it really scared me out of the move. I'm like, you know what, that drop, I didn't like the way this thing happened, so I just avoided it completely, taking a trade on here on space. BA was yeah. Go ahead.
Back to space real quick, and I'm
Yeah.
getting a little bit ahead of myself.
No
I'm
worries.
really confused. I'm really confused why this is not on our gappers list. We're up 9.19% again this morning. Its ATR is 0.94, and it's traded 344,000 shares.
That's interesting, and it's a nice stock. I'm trying to think of anything else that will cause us not to be
Yeah,
on here.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, there's no
It'll be on the list again today, but I don't know why it's not hitting our gappers.
yeah, we'll definitely watch this one. We'll keep it on right on this list. But yeah, you're right. There's no reason why this would not be hitting our gappers list. Did it hit it yesterday, or did someone mention it? I forgot how it got
I
on our.
mentioned it.
You mentioned it, right? Okay. So again, yeah,
Yeah, I can't remember if it was on gappers or not, but I had it on my list before we got going. So
yeah, this should be on here. Just for the heck of it, let's look at it on this level here. Yeah, ATR 94. Maybe because the flow is not filled in. That's what it is. Trade Ideas is missing the flow information, so we do have a filter of on the flow on here. I believe it has
that's right. Of more than it's more than one
more
share
than
is what we
one.
have it set to.
Yeah. This will avoid any ETFs and things like that. So yeah, so that's what it is. Okay. All right, folks. So then next we had BA. So BA was actually a little bit choppy at the open. Look at the way this thing traded. Pops up, does a double top here, then sells off nicely. Then for the rest of the day, obviously something was going on. For the rest of the day, it just chops around, doing nothing all the way until about 2 o'clock. The news broke out. A lot of people called this in Benzinga. I think Andrew put a great Twitter on this thing. A great tweet on this thing. I'll
We're
look it
not
up
an
later.
email last night as well.
And on the email, yeah, of an entry, when the squawk announcement came in, I think it was an email. Yeah, that's correct. When the squawk announcement came in, when one of the traders took this trade here and took advantage of this move, nice beautiful drop here. It did get halted. I believe around this area here, actually down here.
I think it was late. It was a little, yeah, it was a little later than that. The Hulk's what kind of caused it to reverse.
Yeah, and it made no sense. I mean, the halt was for news purpose, but obviously news already had broken out. So somebody slept on the button there to halt this stock. The news came out, people dropped it immediately, and the halt is what probably changes direction. When you get halted, when a stock gets halted, it really changes the way the stock trades after that, changes the momentum. This thing could have easily pulled back here and then even headed further down. But after something gets halted, if you're short in here, you're bailing out. You're not going to wait for a pullback. And obviously if you're stuck long, the minute you see that this pullback here, you also want to get out because the halt just changes the way things react. You just don't want to be part of that after that. So again, just a beautiful drop here, guys. This thing went from 321. This was a big level, and Andrew talks about that in his email that this thing was holding for a while, loses that all the way down to 306, lost 20, almost a $14 in that move there. Then we have some possibles down here. I'm not gonna go through all of them. Just way too many here. But again, just yesterday the open was not a easy one. So if you struggled yesterday at the open, you were not the only one. It was one of those days where there was not good continuation on our opening range breakups, on some of the patterns that we are looking at. So today hopefully will be a better day. Let's get all this stuff out of the way. And Norm, what do we have in regards to news this morning?
So we're up about 0.3% on the SPY. So yesterday, and this was helpful with the squawk. Yesterday, a lot of the chop was caused by some of this news of the Chinese coronavirus info coming out. And as of this morning, I heard now 9 people are dead, and I can't remember the count of total people picked up with it. There's one guy in Washington State that's in isolation that traveled from the region that it came from in China to Seattle, came down with symptoms, called his doctor. So if anybody's been trading or in the markets for a significant amount of time or accustomed to world markets, especially, if you go back to the early 2000s, I think it was around 2003 when there was SARS. And then subsequently, I think it was a couple of years later, MERS. SARS was really the big one, though. And it was another epidemic that spread across Southeast Asia and really caused some economic slowdown. Just because, I mean, hell, people were scared to go outside, slowed down commerce and everything else. So we had a little bit of a pullback on the SPY yesterday, uh, and of course, we've been in a heck of an uptrend on this market recently. Everybody's looking to see what's going to be the reason for a pullback. So we were down a little bit, and then we made up a lot of that yesterday. Excuse me.
No worries.
Made up a lot of that yesterday, and then this morning we're popping, so it's shrugging that off a little bit. As far as economic data, not a whole lot. If the Chicago Fed index came out about 15 minutes ago, right when we came on the air, and existing home sales this morning at 10 a.m. There's jobless claims, leading economic indicators tomorrow, and some other stuff on Friday. So not a huge week for economic data. We're in the heart of earnings season, so a lot of these plays that we're going to get are involved in that. But like I was saying, the news of this coronavirus deal, whenever stuff would come out on Benzinga yesterday, we were seeing moves in the market that would cause it to chop up a little bit. So be interesting for sure.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, this market, I mean, it doesn't seem like anything can bring it down, right? You have several pullbacks. Let's just pull back a little bit here and take a wide look at things. I mean, this thing has just been on a tear. I mean, you have I remember August last year we had this was a real true mess here, just up and down, gapping up, huge up and down here all over the place. But then after that we settled down
Yep.
nicely, came back down, tested this 200 moving average here. And then from there, it has not looked back after that. Even with the with the rumors
No,
of possible war and the attacks that was going on with that, now this thing here with the virus, just nothing seems to stop this train at the moment. This
nothing.
thing is just very very bullish. And like you said a good
It'll
point
happen
here.
at some point. We're gonna get a pullback at some point. Obviously, we're
Yeah,
not gonna just
yeah.
continue this trajectory. But
Yeah, you
you
mentioned
know,
a great point there where like everybody's waiting for when is the next big pullback coming, and just don't try to time it, guys. Let's wait for the signals to actually happen. Anybody trying to time, when the top is here is getting killed, because every time you think it's gonna be get a top or a double top or some kind of reversal, it just breaks an all-time high. So be cautious with that. All right, guys, let's get into our gappers list. Let's start over here. I'm gonna put up here.
speaking of all-time highs,
Yep.
Tesla
Oh my God, Tesla is
should have
just
just held my position from 529 yesterday. I guess.
absolutely,
My lord,
absolutely. We should actually bought in full buying power when the Cybertruck came out. I knew this thing was
I've
gonna
been
be
up
the
like 10 grand this morning.
I knew this thing was gonna be the real deal, the Cybertruck. Holy cow, it's just unbelievable. 880, here we come. All right, let's start with space here since it's not on our gap list, but it should be on here, guys. It is gapping up 8.7, 398,000 shares traded. Pre-market activity is not all that great at the moment, but it did trade well yesterday. Again, was able to break out of this area, this area of resistance here, and it did give you a good, nice green day. Again, you just have to be patient. At first, it was a little bit choppy. So today, I think it will definitely be in play. Definitely worth watching. We do have our highs and lows down here. Then we'll get some levels towards the top. I think we're all-time high on this one, so not really a lot of levels to go off of that. Next on our list, we have mRNA. This one is up 8.7 this morning, 291,000 shares traded. Not the greatest pre-market activity. Looks like we had a nice little pop here, some good volume around 8 o'clock. It's just kind of dwindling down now. So not sure what type of stock this is. I personally, looking at the daily chart, I do not like it. Very low volume, unusual
It's a
days here.
biotech.
It's about, yeah. So these type of stocks don't trade all that well. What is the float on this one? MRNA.
253 million. It's a
Oh,
large
it's a
float.
large flow. Okay, so it's not a low flow stock, but again, it's just these stocks are just difficult to trade. We'll keep it on here, guys, but I'm not liking the way this pre-market activity is lining up at the moment. Let's take a look at our buddy Tesla. Tesla has just been unreal. Here it is, Tesla. It is up 4.8 this morning, 943,000 shares traded. So again, I hope nobody in our community is thinking having this short bias on Tesla that should not be worth this. What's Andrew saying? He says that something could be what's the quote he uses? Something could stay irrational for longer than we could stay liquid on our account. So this is one of those stocks
Yep.
where it continues to be to ride the trend here very nicely. It is up 4.8, good volume, great pre-market activity. You take this candle out of the way, you have a really good pre-market activity here, so definitely worth watching this morning. And for the type of price it is, it has been trading very well with a great spread. I mean, you cannot get a better spread than what you see on Tesla, a stock that's priced at 573. The spread is trading like if it was a 190 when Apple was back in those days. So again, it's trading very clean, although it's a higher price stock. So we'll definitely keep an eye on Tesla. Next, we have IBM. We haven't seen this one up here in a while. They're up 3.6, 216 at the moment. Nice big gap here. Pre-market activity needs to get a lot better, but this is a nicey stock. Also, this is a really big company, and their stock tends not to move very clean. So it could be a little bit more on the choppy side. But what I do like about IBM this morning is this beautiful pop up here and this nice gap we have created. So if this thing is going to hold the low of the pre-market, we can get a great move towards the top here, towards 146. But if it collapses, which I kind of hope it does, we have some room to run here. And the reason why I hope it collapses and we get a better move towards the downside is because anybody sitting here at 137, 132 has been holding this for a while, gets a pop of 3% this morning. If they can take their profits out, they can give us an opportunity to take this towards the downside. But again, you always want to be careful shorting strong stocks. Obviously, they got some news today, Norm. They're up 3.6. I'm assuming some earnings to cause this big gap.
They had earnings last night and a surprise revenue growth, but this stock has been in a downtrend for about 8 years.
Gotcha.
And
Gotcha.
then it's getting this pop. So that's kind of what really makes it interesting and stick out. Like you said, not on a typical day, not the best trading stock on the planet, but I'll have it on my list just in case.
Excellent. All right, so we'll definitely keep IBM on here. Next, we have Ally, ALLY. Let's see what's going on with Ally this morning. Horrible pre-market activity. No great volume. We do have 100,000 shares traded here, but that has to be some kind of block trade that maybe we're not seeing at the moment. So again, nothing good here. Also, look at the daily. The daily is just extremely choppy, guys. There's nothing clean about this daily chart. Definitely going to avoid looking at that one. NAV. NVAX. This one is a low flow, I believe, right? This is a low flow that's been active over the last couple of days. Had a nice little pop here. Let's just double check. Yeah, 26. Actually, not a low flow. It's 26 million shares flow, but it's trading like a low flow. Let's see how it actually did yesterday because I took it off my list. Just want to zoom in here. I know they had a good, clean pre-market activity. Yeah, here's a great pre-market activity. Don't mind these wicks here. Sometimes that's not even the price action heading down. It's just people dropping, doing some transactions off, out of the market. Sometimes that's not even a drop down all the way to these levels, $6. But down here you can see kind of sold off and really didn't do much after that. And this is what I don't like about these stocks, guys. And you want to be very cautious. There's a lot of fake outs that happen with this. Every time you think you're going to get a possible breakout, it comes right back down. Here's one, here's another breakout, and then it comes right back down. Here, you finally get another breakout. And look at the drop. Right, you think you're going to break out of this level. You're waiting for it to hopefully get above this 840. Gets above it. The minute you see a little pop, boom, comes right back down. Now, this stuff is tradable, but you have to be very fast. You have to have a very good entry, a solid tight stop, and you have to be very fast to execute your exit. If you hesitate on something like this, you could find yourself in a very tough position with these type of stocks, these lower price, these lower flow stocks. So just be cautious of these type of stocks. Today, right now, they do have some good volume, but their pre-market action is not looking good at all. Let's get the 5-minute in here. Yeah, their pre-market action is not looking great. Looked great yesterday. Today is a little sloppy. And kind of gapping down a bit here, 14.5, so the fun could be over, but who knows. We'll throw it on here as a possible for this morning, see if it has some juice to try to test some of these highs I did from yesterday, but overall it's just not looking all that good pre-market action wise. Just in here, not looking great. All right, that completes our gappers list. I don't see anything that I love at the moment, so hopefully this thing will get better. Let's go through Nasdaq active, Nasdaq gainers, FCEL. This one's always on our list, more of a penny stock type deal. Doesn't trade very clean. I seen people take some good trades on this, but just not my type of stock to watch. So I'm gonna just avoid this one. GNPX at the moment 3.8, up 53% this morning. Also a penny stock, guys, trading really at under $1. So these type of stocks, the strategies that we trade don't work well on these type of stocks, because you can see a ABCD pattern forming. Next thing you know, it's just a bull trap and you're caught in a bad situation. So again, these type of stocks I completely try to avoid. It's got to look very, very clean. And it has to have a great pre-market activity. I think all the checks have to be checked off, and this one doesn't seem like it has a great pre-market activity. VXRT, VXRT, this one here, also a penny stock trading at 62 cents. We'll skip that one. Tesla, we have TTNPs are one that's always on this list, never looking great. NVAX is one that traded well yesterday, is on this list. We'll see what it does today. SSRA, nothing happening here. AMD. All right, let's see what's going on with AMD. So what did it do yesterday? I know yesterday it had a possible opportunity to break out. I think it had a one good pop, and then from that just got pretty choppy. So it wasn't a great trading day for yesterday. But what we like is that it did break out of this area, created a new high, and now we're gapping up almost 1% with some volume, 444. If we get to that magic 700,000 number, this can be very good for the open. Right now, pre-market activity though is extremely choppy. We got some good volume, 138 sitting on here, but look at this pre-market activity from AMD, which is not your usual type of trading. So could be that it's having a tough time getting above this area here, so we're just kind of banging our heads overall, trying to get above that. That's the high from yesterday, but again, it's just not all that great. We'll keep it on here just in case it wants to surprise us this morning, and obviously we don't have great stuff in our gappers list this morning. DERM popping up now in the trade idea, so we'll take a look at that next after we're done with this list. BYND we have, guys. Actually we do not have, but we should have BYND. I'm surprised how clean BYND traded yesterday. It was very, very clean. And again, kind of my bias of not trusting the stock, avoiding me taking this for a long. But again, you can see a good pre-market activity, some good volume, trying to get red to green here. This is red, obviously, and this is green if we get above the previous day close. So we'll see how that turns out. On the daily, it actually has a great daily pattern, guys. Look at the move all the way up to 135. The rejection held this support here beautifully on 3 days, tested it 1, 2, 3, and then the great breakout yesterday. So again, that's a great pattern here. Got an ABCD. This is your C support in this area of the daily. If we can get a good continuation, we can try to test this 135. That could be a good play for us this morning. Let's head down to Netflix. Netflix had earnings last night. No, and we were in the chat room. I saw you mention the crazy action on Netflix.
Actually, I took a scalp on it,
You
and
did.
I had the hair on my back standing up straight. I was so freaked out in that trade.
Man, you got some guts. But if you had a day like yesterday, that's the type of day you want
I
to
made
do
like
that.
$100. I made like $100. Well, I was like, yeah, I'm playing with house money today. I don't know what that world I was thinking it was, but it was interesting. I'll tell you that. I took a short on it after it made that huge pop and came back down through the close price.
Nice, nice.
And it was I was in it about 10 seconds, and that entire 10 seconds I was white knuckled holding on.
Oh my God.
It
So
was
let's
yeah.
just replay the price action for you guys if you missed it. This is what it did. Boom, 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 boom. It was just like that. It was something that was just wild to see. Look at the volume, 1.4 million shares after hours. So again, interesting day for them. They did have earnings. Looks like they recovered even after they dropped down. They recovered nicely after hours. And today they're kind of hanging out at the previous day close. They got some volume, 378. This could be worth watching, guys. It's kind of
I'm gonna
holding
watch.
here.
I'll be watching. Yeah, I'll be watching Netflix this morning. I mean, there's no gap on it. It's got good volume, but I think it could make interesting moves later.
Yeah, definitely can. I don't like the daily chart as much in this area. It has been very choppy, but hopefully we can get break out of this just choppiness here. Here's was trading very clean. Look at this beautiful pop. Drop down here to the moving average, another pop all the way here, testing this last area of resistance. So this was trading very clean. It kind of stuck in this rut here for the last couple of days. So let's see if this earnings call, the volume yesterday, the action can take this out of this rotation it's been in right now. Let's head over to Nasdaq gainers. GNPX we looked at, doesn't look great, more of a penny stock. OSS, not much going on here. No, not great volume. Also, look at the action here. It's just not anything clean. AKCA, this one is 97,000 shares traded right now, up 16.8. What's the float on this? The daily does not look bad, actually. I like the way the daily's setting up here. We're breaking out of this area of resistance. So 88. So we have a resistance area right on here that we just broke out of that. We tested the high of 25. Horrible pre-market activity. That's the only thing I don't like about this right now. Volume should get going.
So just a heads up here.
Yeah.
There's a discrepancy on the float. So Trade Ideas says 88 million. FinViz says it's 9 million.
Oh, that makes perfect
So
sense. Yep. That
with a 48
yeah.
with a 48% short float, and the short float on Trade Ideas is 61. So that's
Yeah. Yep.
You
That
got to
makes
watch out for
sense.
those.
Definitely got chop for this. I'm gonna put it next to the NVAX. Again, it's just funky stuff here with the numbers. All right, let's head over down to TRIL, excuse me. This one, more of a penny stock, guys. And again, not really anything clean. Has 117, up quite a bit here. Actually, we've seen this one before. Yeah, looked at this one before. It did have a good day a couple of days ago, about a week or two. Again, just not sure about it. We could throw it on here. We could look at it later a little bit closer, see what we get out of that. RESN, nothing happening there. No volume. AEMD, also no activity. Horrible pre-market action. Most of the volume sitting in here. You have 141. Yes, you're up 8%. But overall, it's just not a great looking stock in the pre-market action. Daily looks like we have a couple of pops here. Today could be a possible continuation, but just not sure about this one. DGLI, no activity, no great volume here. ACMR, no volume, only 12,000 shares traded. MRNA, we do have in our list. Not looking all that great, but definitely worth keeping an eye on just in case it gets better. And last one, JAKK. Also not looking great. Very low volume, only 3,000 shares traded. Norm, what do you like this morning so far?
I'm liking Apple and Facebook both for potential daily breakouts. They've been consolidating on their way up. So it'll be interesting to see what they do there. I already mentioned I'm going to have Netflix. I'm going to have my eye on today. Did you go over Ally, ALLY?
We did. We did go
Okay,
over that
good deal.
one.
I missed it. I was working on something else.
Mm-hmm.
And then one other, MNK. MNK we mentioned yesterday morning in the pre-market show. I brought it up. We talked about it. It ran like a beast. It is in short squeeze mode. So it's up another almost 5% this morning, and that has potential as well.
Oh, I forgot to look at MNK yesterday. We did talk about this, and it did not make my list, but yeah, I had a great day yesterday. So we'll keep an eye on that. And then let's go back to Ali because I see some questions in the chat room in regards to Ali. Why did we take this one off? Yeah, it didn't have the
Man, that
volume.
looks like garbage.
Yeah, didn't have the volume. Pre-market activity looks horrible, guys. Daily also looks very, very nasty. Look at this daily chart. I mean, it's just really all over the place. No patterns going on here. You do have a breakout happening out of this consolidation, right? So it's been stuck within this range here, which also just some nasty daily candles. You do have a breakout here. You do have some volume. But overall, look at this pre-market activity. And look how this thing has been trading. So again, just not a fan of it at the moment. Okay, what did you guys like this morning? Let's take a look at our chat here. So we have, let me just scroll up a bit. All right, we have Facebook. We do have David from Connecticut is giving us J&J, Johnson and Johnson. See what's going on with them. Okay, seem to have something happening here. They're down 1.5. Got a decent volume because they are a nicey stock. They don't trade all that great with a lot of volume in the pre-market. Maybe earnings with this drop here. That's something I could assume that's causing a move here because J&J doesn't move much for the most part.
Either that or they're giving another subset of the yeah, they had earnings this morning. I don't know if they've given another subset of the population cancer too, or if it's anything on top they've announced. No, it's just earnings this morning.
Gotcha.
This one moved a lot on the talcum powder cancer news, and the opioid lawsuit issues, but I'm not seeing a whole lot in it this morning myself.
Yeah, so again, it's not looking all that great. It has a nice drop here. It's got some volume, so it could have some potential. Overall, I don't like the way this stock trades, so that's one of the things I'm not be a fan of. I have it here as a possible to take a look at. Let's look at Uber. I see a lot of you guys mentioning that one. So Uber had a great day yesterday. How did we miss Uber? So look at Uber had the breakout we've been talking about, and again, we had some other stuff on watch, and we did not have this one. Unfortunately. So again, had a beautiful pop yesterday. Today could be putting in a good continuation. Already has 34,000 shares traded. Pre-market is not looking all that clean, but Uber tends to have a bad pre-market. I'm starting to see that now. Several days we hadn't had a great pre-market activity, and we have had some good trading days out of Uber. So definitely worth to put down here as a possible this morning. We'll take a closer look at it. Hopefully the move is not completely done. Yesterday we had a very nice pop here and beautiful breakout from this area of resistance. Look how this thing took off. And hopefully today we can get some continuation out of this one. All right, let's head back up. What do we have here? NIO. NIO. Wow, NIO is making new highs here in the last recent time here. So again, had a beautiful pop. Had a great day yesterday, and today we have 2.9 million shares traded. Now let's look how that traded yesterday, because that's my issue sometimes with NIO is the way it trades. It will get the volume, it will look good, But let's look at this one here. Yeah, actually had a good trading day yesterday. Yeah, it put in a good day yesterday. I'm just looking at it now without the price action. NIO could be a good possible. I'm starting to see a lot of great possibles. NIO could be one of them. SPCE we have, Uber we have, J&J we have, AKCA we
We
did
looked
look
at
at.
that one.
Yeah, I didn't like the way that one looked. Let me see what else we have.
You've got it on your low float.
I do have it down here, right? Yeah. So again, just didn't like the way this looks here. So we'll see. The daily though, daily looks interesting on this breakout here. That looks interesting. So we'll see what we can get out of that. That could be one of the low flows of the day. But NVAX is also on there. Let's take a look at MU for the last one. Then we'll go over to announcements. We'll come back and do some levels. So MU at the moment also breaking out here. Nice. It could be a good possible MU actually. So MU is definitely worth putting on this list. We have a lot of possibles. We're gonna go through them all and just pick the best ones this morning to watch. All right, last one, I promise. Roku, last one. Okay. Roku had also a nice pop yesterday. Ended up strong. Doesn't have great pre-market activity right now, but what I do like on Roku here, guys. Again, I'm gonna put it on here also. What I like on Roku is this line here. This previous day close. You can clearly see the area of support and resistance, and we're right on it. It'll be great if this thing can squeeze here. You have some room to run up here to at least to 142 is your next area. So, Roku's worth watching. This is the last one I'm going to add on here as we're running a little bit short on time. And then we're heading over to announcements. So Roku's the last one. We'll dive it a little deep into that in a second. All right, guys, let's get over to announcements. Then we'll come back and do support and resistance. So it's going to hop off over here. All right, here we go.
We got a lot going on, so I'm going to fly through this today, guys. It's not on the site or anything anymore, but that promo code 440% off lifetime one-time payment still active. Holidays 19 if you need to use it. DAS replay feature is live. It is only live for the version of DAS simulator that you get from Bearable Traders. It's not live yet for any others. They will be coming out soon for the Sim and IB and other versions of their product. Upcoming success webinars tonight, 8 p.m. in the this one, remember, it's in the classroom. This one is open to everybody. It's two guys that are members of Bearable Traders. They met here and developed their own web-based journaling software called ChartLog. They'll be discussing how journaling can help improve your trading. Next week will be Naz and Andrew talking about day trading options. Jonathan Katz on the 5th talking about mental prep and routine. Thor got bumped. You are kicked off the list for February 12th, guys. Unless you were in the room yesterday and caught this or opened your email that was sent out last night, we have a very special speaker on February 12th. Mike Bellafiore from SMB Capital will be doing our success webinar in the Lifetime room. So we're going to have Mike, super good guy. He's a few different times. That's hysterical, man. They are very open and willing to help the trading community at SMB Capital. They'll be joining us on the 12th. And then Ed Martin from Average Joe Trader is going to be here doing trend trading success webinars, two-part. That should say 219 in the week after. So my apologies for that. Upcoming meetups. Andrew's looking to have a meetup in Dubai in February. There's a forum post. I don't have the exact date. I don't think he's scheduled it quite yet, but work out a date in there if you're in Dubai or around Dubai or can make it to Dubai from any point in the world in February. Chime in that forum post. If you're watching this on YouTube and haven't been in the chat, would like to give it a shot, you can do so with at a discount with the promo code premarket24. No spaces, hyphens, or anything like that. Pre-market, the number is 24. Does not auto-renew or turn into any kind of other membership. Also, we release info like the Mike Bellafiore thing or, trading info, charts, watch list, stuff like that all the time on Twitter. We're pretty active. You can follow Andrew at Bearable Traders. You can follow Carlos at Carlos M BBT or me at Norm BBT.
All right, excellent.
The Mike Bellafiore will be in the Lifetime room, so it will be Lifetime members only. Will be recorded for them if you can't watch it at that time.
Yep.
And that one will not be at 8. That will not be at 8. No, the success webinars move around a little bit, especially since we have guest speakers. At Mike Bellafiore one, I believe it's going to be at like 4 p.m. Eastern on the 12th. Mike doesn't want to stay up late doing a webinar. Don't blame him. So he's going to do it in the afternoon. They move around depending on people's schedules, and they are all recorded and put in the media center.
Yep, absolutely. All right, guys, let's get into this list. So first, let's go through it, see what looks crappy, and we'll take it out because we have quite a bit on here. So let's start with space. I keep saying space, but it's not space. SPCE is Virgin Galactic. So this one here is starting to put in a good pre-market activity. The volume is starting to come in after 8:30, 8 o'clock. You can see the volume piling on here. It could be setting up for a good continuation. So I like the way this is setting up. We do have shares for sure. We have some great volume here as well, up 8.1. A good continuation, so we'll definitely watch this one. mRNA, I'm not a fan of this one right now. I think it might have some potential, guys, but at the moment, just the pre-market's not looking all that great. It is selling down here. Again, it has potential, guys. We'll have to, let's leave it on here for now. It has potential. Tesla, we're definitely watching. Beautiful pre-market activity already. Great daily chart. This thing is very strong right now. Up 4.6, a million shares traded at the moment. This is one you want to have on your list. IBM, IBM starting to lose this level on the low of the pre-market. No, wait for us. Hopefully this could wait for us. I think this one has some potential here. We do have a lot of room towards the downside if people start taking their profits and bringing this back down towards that 139. So I like IBM for that reason. Other than that, if IBM was gapping down into area of resistance or support, let's say that gapping down here, I wouldn't like it as much, but this gap here is very attractive for a possible move towards the bottom. AMD could be a possible breakout, guys, but right now we have some other good stocks that are gapping nicely that are probably going to be better to watch this morning. So AMD, I'm going to move to a possibly secondary list down here. We'll look at AMD, but I'm going to take it out of my main list. BYND, definitely worth watching. Possible continuation. And the last 2 days, it has actually the last day yesterday, it traded very clean, very well, so definitely worth watching. Netflix had earnings dropping here, losing the previous day close. I think this is going to be very active today as well. Has been stuck in a range here, but I like the way this is trading, so definitely going to keep this one. All right, so we have some good ones here. mRNA we might replace with a possible here. So MU has a good possible breakout. Volume is not there yet. Apple's daily looks interesting, good possible. Trying to see if we could find a better one to replace mRNA. Facebook also good possible for a breakout here on the daily as well. Keep an eye on that one. MNK doesn't have a great pre-market activity, but put in a great day yesterday. That's a good possible. Also, J&J is dropping nice here. Uber could be a possible. NIO, I don't like NIO as much, but it has volume. I'm going to take out mRNA, and I'm going to add NIO this morning. Let's look at NIO. I like the volume that it has right now. It did trade very clean. Yes, it has a good continuation here where we broke out of this area of resistance that we had. We popped up, sold back down, found support in this moving average, and we broke out of that again. So I think this could be a good one for continuation. Definitely worth watching. We left off at Uber. Uber's a good possible. NIO we have. Let's delete it from this area here. Roku, good possible as well. Not as great right now. AMD, this low flow stock I'm just going to remove, guys, because I'm not going to watch them. So I'm just going to take them out of the way, really. I'm just not going to. We got a lot of great stuff happening with this mid to large flow stocks. No reason to be playing around with these low flow stocks during this time when we have some other great stuff we could watch. TRIL also I'm going to remove from this list. All right, let's find some levels on this main list here, and then we'll look through these and still kind of get a fine-tune this secondary list. It's still too much, even for a secondary list for us to have on here. Let's look at SPCE. All right, so our high right now, the pre-market sitting at 1916, and I believe this is the all-time high on this stock. So again, worth keeping that on there. Other than that, all your other levels are set. You have your highs and lows from the last 2 trading days right on here. Don't need to add any more on here. Good pre-market activity. And a possible continuation if we can break out as 1917. Now, I remember yesterday this thing popped up and popped down quite a bit before it settled in nicely and took off. So just be aware of that. Wait for those first 15 minutes to see how the stock is going to react at the open, and wait for a good open range breakup or an ABCD pattern or any kind of strategy you're looking for. Tesla continues to be very strong, guys, up nicely now, 4.6. Our high of our all-time high is now at 570, 79.51. Yes, 51 or so. That's our all-time high right there. Our low of the pre-market sitting at 556. Aside from that, no more levels need to be added. Your highs and lows from the last 2 trading days, previous day close, are creating all the support you need for Tesla. IBM, guys, I like the way this thing is dropping here. Hopefully it gives us a minute to gives us a nice pullback for a nice rising devil opportunity if it can do that, or or even just sell off below this 142.80. High of the pre-market 145.94. And again, just looking to see if it can close this gap down here. Look at this, how choppy this thing was trading between September and October. We're right within that price range now. Again, there's no clean levels you can find in here. This is as choppy as a daily chart can get. It did get better down here. You kind of have a flow kind of building up here, and then the breakout here at 139, beautiful pop. But overall, in the price range here, it's just nothing clean in this area. You might have, you might have something around 141. Looks like right on here. And the reason I say that, if you draw a line right on there, you have some support. As nasty as this thing looks, you do have some support and some resistance happening around that area 141. So I'm going to mark that down just to have a place to aim for if this thing drops and loses at 142.80. BYND, guys, we have plenty of levels towards the bottom. Let me remove the levels we did yesterday. We have our low of our pre-market, which is still very important because you have the low of the pre-market, also an opening and closing around that area. Also, look at these 3 days having that resistance right on there at 124.11. Above that previous day close, the high of the pre-market, we have it sitting at 131.70, so we'll mark that down. And then this pop over here, 135.22, is really all you need on BYND. Towards the bottom, you have a nice gap here. If it loses 124, you have a good gap in this area all the way down to 113. There's really nothing on here. You do have this data on here. You could mark this down 117, but overall you have a nice clean run all the way down to 115 if we can get there. So we'll see BYND very active, up down 1% this morning. Volume, it looks clean. It looks like you might want to go red to green here. So we'll keep an eye on BYND. I think it traded so clean yesterday. Hopefully it does that today. Netflix is a loss, kind of went red to green. I'm sorry, green to red here. Lost the previous day close. We're sitting at the low of yesterday, kind of holding on to that barely. We do have some levels we can get to into 327.44. This thing had earnings yesterday. I don't think they were great earnings yesterday, so we'll see how that reacts today. The low here is 321.45, another area of nice support. Look at this double bottom of this 321, and then the pop, then the resistance all the way up here. Towards the top, you do have your high of your pre-market 346.84, but I'm really hoping that this thing can come down here and test some of these levels towards the bottom. NIO, guys, continues to rip on the daily. High of our pre-market sitting at 548. Below that, we have your high from yesterday, your previous day close, and then you have this level here at 448. Really is what you should have. Now, I know the stock has traded a lot higher because we used to trade this quite a bit. Let's see what we have above this 546, 548 high of our pre-market. Nice level right on here, 602. Above that, you do have a moving average on the daily at 635, so I'm going to mark that down. I think it's going to be plenty for NIO this morning. All right, so that is what we have, guys. I think we have a good possible list. We have SPCE, we have Tesla, IBM, and a nice gap up here this morning. BYND also looking great. Netflix, some good activity. Look at the volume on Netflix. So I think Netflix definitely should be on your list. NIO as well has a good pre-market activity, some serious volume. But this volume, it's common for NIO. NIO tends to have that type of volume. All right, let's look at this possibles. MU doesn't have quite the great volume yet. Apple could be a possible for a breakout. I like Facebook too. Facebook and Apple are both right there. If they could just get a little bump, they could definitely take off. MNK looks okay. J&J, I'm going to remove J&J. I just personally do not like the way this thing trades. I just can't have all that many possibles on here. Uber had a great day yesterday, so I'm going to remove it now. I think the breakout happened here. Me and Noah were talking about it, but yesterday we had other stuff to watch. But here's the breakout. So I'm going to remove it from now. If it hits our scanners, we can come back to it. Roku has potential, guys. Doesn't have a great pre-market activity, but look at the space in here. We do have a potential 143 area that we can get into. So I'm going to mark that down. And then we have another level over here at 149. So I'm looking for this to hopefully go north. Towards the bottom, you do have a lot of resistance here, moving averages, and you kind of got this consolidation happening here. You do have some nice room heading towards that 142, 143 area. AMD has the volume, and I think it's the way the pre-market is trading now. It looks like it wants to break out and test new highs. So I'm going to we'll be watching AMD closely as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, but that's my 6. These are my possibles. I think we have a good watch list this morning so far. JD. Let's look at JD. Yeah, JD, you know what? JD's popping up today. Doesn't have the volume. It did trade actually very clean yesterday, but I'm just not a fan of the volume right now in JD. It's up 1.5. It does have some potential also breaking out of this area, but again, I think we have some other ones that are looking a lot better pre-market this morning.
This one, JD's up on a no-name analyst buy rating at 47 bucks.
Mm-hmm.
My concern with JD, the reason I won't be trading or watching it is because you have the potential with this. I mean, it has the potential with these headlines of the coronavirus deal. We
Mm-hmm.
saw it yesterday when all the Chinese stocks were just hammered first thing in the morning. A couple of them were on earnings, but most of them were on the coronavirus news. So that concerns me. If some kind of news breaks and that Chinese news service has been throwing stuff out all during market hours, so I would
Yeah.
be concerned one way or the other on that.
Yeah. So mRNA, I was on the fence on this one, but I took it off, guys. I mean, it has some potential, but it is a low flow stock. I think Norm mentioned this earlier. No, sorry,
No, it's
what's
that
this one?
was a different one. That was
Oh, that was AKA.
AKC.
Yep, yep. So yeah,
Yeah, AKC. Yeah.
this is one that again it has potential, but something about the pre-market activity, the daily just doesn't look all that clean. So I'm just taking it off. I think there's some other ones here that look better, but it could be a good one. We'll see how it trades today. I'll tell you this: if it hits our scanners, type of breakup to our breakdown, I know that we've been watching this when we talked about it. I'll definitely take a look at it. And if you guys see something that's setting up nicely in the chat, call it out and we'll look at it. We'll go and see what's going on. That's the great thing about being part of a community. I could watch my six
Yep.
stocks on here, and I cannot tell you how many times you guys call, hey, this thing is setting up for a possible breakout. Now I'm not saying I'm gonna just go long for a possible breakout. I'm gonna put the stock on watch on my main screen, check to see if there's an opportunity for me and take advantage of it. So that's the great thing about having, all eyes on deck here. So if somebody's watching the mRNA, definitely keep a lookout for that. If you're watching any of these possible on your main list, call it out. Call it out in the chat room what you're seeing, and then we can tune into it and see if we can also take advantage of it as well. So Andrew has his watch Uber, BYND, Roku, Tesla, and mRNA, IBM, and SPCE. So that's Andrew's watch list. Yeah, I think we have a good watch today. It certainly looks better than yesterday. Although yesterday looked great, just the market didn't help things. It really was very, very choppy. Let's hope for a better day today. Guys on YouTube, thank you so much for joining us. We will see you tomorrow, 8:30 Eastern Time. Trade safe. Tonight is, remember, we have our lifetime webinar tonight. Is Wednesday. It will be a chart log will be on. The two guys that met within the Bear Traders community, and they created a great program. They also have they're gonna talk about journaling and how that can help you get your edge in trading. So I'm looking forward to that. We cannot stress how important journaling is. A lot of people want to do all the hard work in front of the screens and not outside of the screens. And when it comes to trading, journaling is a big part of your success and getting over that learning curve. So looking forward to that. Take care, guys, on YouTube. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
Take care, guys. Trade safe. See you in the morning.